look, I was on your show last week, guys, and I didn't think San Francisco had a chance.
Me neither.
Like I thought they were coming into Philly, they're rested. I didn't think, and then they went and played like they did. And so everybody's going to look at that last game, week 18, and the 49ers not being able to score, all that kind of stuff. Okay, everyone's going to count them out, except you can't count the 49ers out. You just can't do it.
Joining us on the River Islands guest line is Brian Baldinger, presented by our proud partner, Golden State Lumber and Showroom, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. Building better starts with Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit goldenstatelumber.com. Baldy, good morning. Joe Spadoni alongside Joe Shasky. We're just talking about, that game in Philadelphia and just what a win it was for Kyle Shanahan, for Brock Purdy. I mean, where should we even start? Where do you want to start? What is Baldy's biggest takeaway from a 49ers perspective after that win in Philadelphia?
Well, there's a lot of ways to start this thing. But honestly, who would have thought that you could start Eric Kendricks and Garrett and rack up 21 tackles and shut the Eagles down on 2 guys that have never started for the 49ers, right? Kendricks gets signed, a month ago. Johnny Holland, Robert Saleh, to see those guys, I thought I was watching Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, year 6 together. Like the way that they communicated, they never blew an assignment all the way to the end with Kendricks knocking the ball away down the middle of the field. There's Brock Purdy dropping back 32 times, and on 31 dropbacks, he doesn't get hit. He doesn't get touched. To stop that pass rush. There's so many different ways to do it. To overcome the loss of George Kittle in that game. To just continue to bestow Christian McCaffrey with every superlative you can think of in football terminology is unreal. It's a credit, man. It's a credit to Kyle, to John, and the culture that they have there all the way around.
Baldy, the Bay Area was really heated. They heard you on WIP. Yep. I love you. But honestly, this is why I love you, Baldy. You stand by what you say. You're willing to change your opinions as you get more film and things go on. But let's call it what it is. Like you were asked, hey, starting a franchise, would you take Hurts and Sirianni or Shanahan and Purdy? How do you feel this morning?
Well, no. See, so when I was asked the question, immediately I thought Super Bowls. Sirianni and Hurts are just coming off a Super Bowl win and a Super Bowl MVP. Now, you can debate whether, you can debate all the stuff about it. Is the team better? They won a Super Bowl, and the quarterback was a Super Bowl MVP. And one thing I've learned about when you win a Super Bowl, whether it's Bill Walsh winning a Super Bowl or Mike Holmgren winning a Super Bowl with Brett Favre, whatever it is, they can never take it away from you. And that's all I thought about when I was asked the question. And I was definitive. Now, does that negate any of the positivity of Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan together and what they're doing? Absolutely not. But if you're asked a question, you answer the question based on that. It's about winning championships. It's about putting the Vincent T. Lombardi trophy in the 49ers trophy case. And that's all that answer was. But I understand the flack. I get fans. I totally understand it. And I understand, especially after winning in Philadelphia, I knew they were going to come after me, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I answered the question, Joe, based on that one simple truth. It's about winning championships.
Well, you know what I always say to people? We put our name on everything we say. It's not like Insider says. We put our name on everything. So you're not ducking nobody. I love you, Baldy.
No.
Yeah.
No. Listen, but I'm also, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm still, the way the question was framed, I would stand by. Yeah. And look, they just did a phenomenal job. Who knew DeMarcus Robinson was going to do what he did? Look, you could just all that, right? They needed somebody to step up, and DeMarcus Robinson stepped up in a way that nobody could have predicted. But that's coaching. That's Kyle. That's Brock. And they deserve all their flowers. But at the same time, 49ers are pretty hungry for a championship the last time I checked. They've been there. They've knocked on the door. They haven't gotten it down. And that's going to travel with Kyle. It's going to travel with him. He's had opportunities. And it's fair or not fair. Bud Grant got there 4 times, didn't win. Marv Levy got there 4 times. He didn't win. You can still go to the Hall of Fame. You can still be a great Hall of Fame coach without the Super Bowl. But, it's like when Steve Young had the monkey ripped off his back. You don't think Kyle wants that monkey ripped off his back? 100%. Hell yeah, he does.
100%, Baldy. So, in this game, I thought Brock was awesome. He had a couple of plays he wants back. There's no doubt. But I thought the throw to DeMarcus on the first drive, he just teardropped it over Quinyon Mitchell, and it was a dime. He had a couple of throws to CMC and to Juice. Juice was awesome in this game. But after the second pick, and I thought Quinyon made a great play. He kind of floated it. The first pick was terrible. We don't have to go there. It's 7:55 to go. You gave this guy the money you gave him and said, you're the franchise quarterback, down to lead that drive, which he did. I loved that entire drive, how he moved in the pocket, how the team was moving the ball, the screen call from Shanahan, but the touchdown play as he evades pressure, throwing on the run on that Texas route play where he's coming from the other side of the formation. I thought Brock Purdy was awesome in this game, and I know he had the interception, but when the chips were all in the middle of the table, he showed his best.
He did. And it's great because, TV's doing what TV does, right? So there's drama, and there's Brock on the sideline, completely looking unfazed by any of it, knowing very well that the turnovers could lead. Who loses the turnover battle the way they lost the turnover battle on the road in a playoff game that wins a game? Well, your quarterback has to make those plays. And I would love to ask Kyle or Brock, is the winning touchdown to McCaffrey, is that truly the number one look? You're just buying time, looking to the right, stepping up in the pocket. Or is that just, okay, I'm looking over here at Robinson and Juan and Tongas over here, but am I looking over there and then climbing the pocket knowing I got McCaffrey over here and Nakobe Dean? I don't know, because part of me says, let McCaffrey go to work, let him figure out the route, because it's a Steph Curry clear out right here on the backside. Is it just a question of Brock buying time in that spot to let McCaffrey go win?
Talking to Brian Baldinger here on the Morning Roast, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. And Baldy, there's so many different takeaways from this game. We had day after a victory Monday, hey, game balls. You can go Upton Stout. You can go Brock Purdy. You can go Trent Williams with 1.5 hamstrings. You can go anywhere. I want to stick with Robert Saleh here, because I feel like this guy's going to get a bunch of coaching interviews. He already is. If he just puts in the tape for this game, is it more so about how bad the Eagles are offensively, or what Robert Saleh and Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow were able to do defensively? Or is it a little of both?
I think it's a little of both. I don't want to just take Robert Saleh and say, well, the Eagles had these issues all year, which they did. And I was late getting on with you because I was just on in Philadelphia talking about it. And there's going to be changes. There's going to be, there's even people talking about blowing out Sirianni and, all the emotional stuff, that happens when you lose at home in a playoff game the way they did. And just how they never played 4 quarters of football a year. But at the same time, they made, those guys were ready to play. And, some of it is fundamental football, but you felt like the communication between Wallow and Kendricks was really, really good all game long. And, Upton Stout, the guy just plays the game fast. Siegel made huge plays. Everybody contributed, right? So you can't really single one guy out. But the way that the coordinator's job is just that. How are we going to coordinate this thing, keep it in front of us, not give up the big plays? Some of that is the Eagles. They play a conservative brand of football. You're winning 19-17. Let's keep it in front of us. But at the same time, we knew that if McCaffrey got towards, 25 touches, he got 23, that they were going to be in good shape and a chance to win the game, and they were right there. But Saleh's going to – I can't imagine, honestly, in this coaching cycle of 8 head coaching vacancies, and especially with Saleh right there in the spotlight on that, I can't imagine him not getting a job, especially with DeMeco Ryans last night doing what he's doing in Houston. Defense still wins these freaking championships. You still win because of it. I can't imagine Saleh not getting a job right now.
Got to talk about Kittle. Torn Achilles, just a brutal blow. And the fact that they were able to rally still from that point and win the game just speaks to what this team has been all year, and is just resiliency after losing Bosa, losing Fred. You may get him back if you win this week. Who knows? And then now losing Kittle. It sounds like a silly question. How significant of a loss is it for this team? Just your thoughts on everything, and you're just gutted for him.
Well, I mean, he's the heart and soul of the team, and has been. I mean, he's just literally. I mean, Fred, George, Juice. I mean, these guys. Since Kyle got there. I mean, it's been those guys have been the leaders. It's leaders in every way. How you present yourself, how you practice, how you prepare, how you play in any game, big games, regular season, mid-October, doesn't matter. But these Achilles tears. George has made that play for a decade. And to see that the Achilles snap right there, you just wonder what the hell is going on. Is it overtraining? What's happening? You saw McCaffrey, he did tear his Achilles, but obviously the Achilles was the problem last year. What's going on, and why is that happening to Dre coming off the sideline in the Super Bowl game? I just need somebody to kind of research this stuff, and what can we do so that routine plays don't end up the way George did. And it was so, the shot of George getting off of the truck and hopping into the locker room on one leg was just such classic Kittle. He doesn't want any help. He's just going to hop into the locker room. He knows the injury. That's just, it's awful. It's just awful. Thank God Jake Tonga has been unreal throughout the year and was continued. I feel like they've got the next guy up ready to go to take that spot. Although I'm not saying you can replace George, you can't. But at least they've got two tight ends ready to go this game.
Yeah. All right, so in the game, it's third quarter. They fall down 16-10. And there's 2 minutes to go in the third. And they run a juice play where it's like a screen. And he runs through the soul of Blankenship to finish this run.
Yep.
And I jumped up off the couch, and it felt like a big momentum play. I thought Juice had his best game as a Niner. And then a CMC run, and then they run the Sky Moore jet sweep. Okay? And then we get to the end, and there's a quarterback sneak for the first down. It's the end of the third quarter. It's the start of the fourth quarter. And they run this kind of sky reverse flip to JJ. And Juwan Jennings throws that absolutely perfect throw as he's getting plastered to CMC catching the ball over the middle. They set this up with the Sky Moore reverse. And it was a gots-to-have-it moment. I know the final drive is the one everyone points to. But down 16-10, I thought the whole drive was set up by Juice finishing that run with Blankenship because, man, that was just all the momentum right there.
Well, they had lost Kittle by that point. And so Juice, everybody's in that huddle going, we're going to do it for George. You can just hear it. We're going to do this for George. But you got to, I've never seen Juwan Jennings throw a ball. I don't know if he's right-handed or left-handed. To call that play. Now, you can say you set it up with the Sky Moore, fly sweep, all that stuff, which is true. Because the Eagles were completely out of sorts. They were in man coverage. Here's Quinion, running with the receiver, and nobody picks up McCaffrey. I don't know what Reed Blankenship was doing. I don't know where his eyes were, whatever. But to call that play in that spot, everybody has deceptives, right, Joe? So everybody has them on their play sheet. They're sitting there. But the key is, A, when you call it, and B, how you execute it. There was still a great catch. Juwan throws the ball, but still a great catch, tracking that ball into the end zone by McCaffrey. But to call that play in that spot, kind of we call that the high red zone, right? You're outside the 20. High red zone play. It's probably on the play sheet. You got low red zone, high red zone, all this stuff. It's probably on Kyle's sheet as a high red zone play. To call that play in that spot and then to execute it when you need it the most to take the lead. It's why he's a great coach. Not many guys call that one in that spot and then execute it like that.
What does he have to cook up different versus Seattle this time? And they're going to have Trent, obviously, which is a big help. But what do they have to do different in this game versus what they did 2 weeks ago against Seattle?
Well, I think I think McCaffrey ran the ball 8 times in that game, Joe. Maybe I'm wrong. No more than 10. They just couldn't run it, and so they went away from it. They need to crease them up front. And maybe it's different style of runs. Maybe it's more pin and pulls, whatever. They've got to find different ways to get good runs. The 4 to 6 yard runs first down, second down, where they can stay more on schedule and to keep feeding McCaffrey. Because obviously here he is, 436 touches, I believe, Joe, in 18 games, 436. They need another 20 to 25 touches from McCaffrey somehow. So you're going to get him matched up against, Drake Thomas. You're going to get him against Ernest Jones. They know Ernest Jones well from playing him this year, from playing him with the Rams. They got to find some of those matchups. You got to get Juice involved. So there's things you can learn and take away from that, debacle, 2 weeks ago. But I think it starts with how they run the ball and how successful they can be. If you run inside zone against Big Cat Williams and Jerron Reed and Byron Murphy, you're probably going to get the same results. You're probably going to get 1 yard, 2 yard plays, and it's just not going to be enough to sustain. All of a sudden, it's probably on Kyle's sheet as a high red zone play. To call that play in that spot and then to execute it when you need it the most to take the lead. I mean, it's why he's a great coach. Like, not many guys call that one in that spot and then execute it like that. If Fred signed off on it and said, guys, put me out there. I know sometimes you got to put players out of harm's way. Like they'll get too emotional about it. But in this case, I would not have fears. I feel like Fred's going to be back next year, being Fred, no matter what. But I would not have fear of putting Fred out there right now.
Baldy, one more. Biggest takeaway from the entire opening weekend of the NFL playoffs for you is what? Any team, any game, biggest takeaway is what?
Houston, to see that defense last night smother Pittsburgh.
Oh, my God.
It's like nobody, we'll see what happens this weekend, but I don't think anybody wants to see Houston. They overcame 3 turnovers and completely shut Pittsburgh down. This thing is still going to come down to defense and overcome. That's where this thing is going to be. Could be Seattle this weekend. The Patriots defense was awesome this weekend. I feel like defense is where this thing is at. And we saw the biggest display of it over the 6 games and the final game on the road. And, defense, the good thing about defense is it travels. So it doesn't matter what stadium you're in, it doesn't matter what noise. You play defense the way they play defense, you're going to have a chance to win every game.
It's a great point. I think DeMeco Ryans has joined John and Jim Harbaugh as the only coaches in their first 3 years ever to each year win a playoff game, which is pretty incredible for the once defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. Baldy, great stuff, man. And hopefully we're talking about another win with you next week.
I hope so. Yeah. That's why you got to go play the game. You got to go play the game. But let's enjoy the build up to this game. Because everybody, look, I was on your show last week, guys, and I didn't think San Francisco had a chance.
Me neither.
I thought they were coming into Philly, they're rested. I didn't think, and then they went and played like they did. And so everybody's going to look at that last game, week 18, and the 49ers not being able to score, all that kind of stuff. Okay, everybody's going to count them out, except you can't count the 49ers out. You just can't do it.
Can't do it. Baldy, great stuff, man.
Love you, Baldy.
We'll do it again next week.
Yeah, love you guys, man. Talk to you next week.
You're the best.
Let's go.